Hey everybody, welcome back to NSB. Last episode, we got this motor block all tore apart, or the motor tore all block down to the block, sleeves knocked out, and cleaned. So right now we're ready to start going back the other direction. So let's get started. So these here are your seals. They come with your sleeves that you get. I'm gonna lay them out here. I've got some ultra slick engine assembly lube. I'm about out. I'm going to go get me another bottle before I probably get this done, but I'm going to use a little bit of it because it's some slick stuff, and we're just going to go through. I'm just going to coat this seal, and then we're going to pop it in this groove here. That stuff goes a long way. I'm just, as you can see how nice and covered that's getting. And I'm not even getting no more on my hand. I got some dripped in here. There's number 2. I will tell you, when I took the old seals out, some of that seal wanted to stick in there, so you got to really clean that out because you don't want to double up on that seal and cause a leak. You get the motor all back together and you got a leak, you got a lot of work to go back to get that fixed. So we got them 3 in, or 4 in. So now we're going to pop these new sleeves in. Before you got your sleeves, I'll get you a block of wood and a hammer, and make sure your block of wood's going to go in between your bolts if you don't have the studs out. These stayed in, I'm not taking them out, so they'll go in. That's just in case they don't pop in. If they don't pop in all the way, you can tap them to get them the rest of the way in. So let me show you how that we're going to do this. So this morning before I left to work, it was like 8 o'clock this morning, I came out and I grabbed all the sleeves. They're right there, them are the empty boxes. Took them and I put them in the freezer. So right here is all my sleeves next to my hamburgers and my steak. So these are nice and frozen. So we're going to go quickly. I don't want these thawing out before I get over there. So I'm going to get the camera back over and ready, and then I'll grab one at a time. Here we go. I think I'm going to start with the back, go to the front. Last time I seen someone, they just popped them right in. But that did go in easy. And you see, I took that block of wood, so I'd keep your block of wood handy. Now that's unthawing. It's going to seal up in there. Before I go any farther, I want to double check, make sure my seal didn't pop out. Looks real nice. We're going to repeat. Number 2. Damn it. So there you have it. Got the sleeves in. You can see that they're nice and icy. They're thawing out, so I'm gonna let that sit, let them thaw. Probably thaw it, get to room temperature. I'm just gonna walk away for about an hour. So now that we got the sleeves all pressed in and they're thawed out after being froze, actually been a couple days, I let them sit in here for a while. So the block's pretty much ready to keep on assembling. So at this point, the sleeves are in. The next thing is going to be the crank, and then we'll put the pistons back in, piston rods. But before I get to that point, let me show you what we got. So pretty much I got everything laid out here. My main caps, my piston rods, pistons, and the crank. So I need to clean the crank. We'll pop bearings in, and we'll get the crank in and the mains on, bolted down, then we'll move to the pistons. On the pistons, there's a kit that I bought that came with the sleeves, pistons, and all. So here's the original rod and piston. There's a big ass piston in this car, in this tractor. And what's pretty wild, it's got 3 compression rings and 1 oil ring, and the oil ring's below the wrist pin. And you can see how these are solid all the way around. It's a full floater. Full floater means that pin's floating in the piston and in the rod. See how the rod goes back and forth? I can probably hold the pin. Yeah, see the pin's not moving. On like a Chevrolet or something, them pins are pressed into the rod and there's no keepers. So that's how they put them in. Now let me show you the kit that I bought. Here's the new piston. A lot difference. It's got piston skirts like a car. They're kind of light compared to those that I can see. That's pretty much in there. That ought to come on out of there. I may have to tap them out. But if you'll notice, this only has 2 top rings and 1 oil ring. Everything's above like a car. You got 3, 1 oil ring. A lot of big difference. Same size piston, same from top to bottom. Just wild how that's completely around, all the way around to where they've got the skirts. That's what we got. So we're going to put them in. Notch goes forward. So these pistons here have to go in a certain direction. All right, let's see how hard it's going to be to come off. Pretty much the way I've got this is I'm going by the notches in the bearing. So when I took the motor out, the rods were this way. That's the front of the motor going that way. So that notch has got to go that way. That's how I can orient that. So I'll need to keep an eye on that. So let me see if I can get this old piston off. Pretty much you got these little keepers. The new pistons come with a set of new ones. I've got a bunch of these punches that have been turned, but this fits perfect for this. Wow. The hole in the center of that one's bigger than that one. This one, the whole thing almost goes in. wrist pin and piston. Man, I'm gonna tell you, this is a whole lot heavier than this. This don't have no rings on it. I really don't know how that's gonna take care of a balance. You would think putting these light pistons on this is gonna throw the balance way out, but this kit's made for this tractor. Now, a lot of people would change that brass bushing. I didn't order them brass bushings. They look nice. There's no play in it. Oh, that's real tight. Compared to that one, this one's got just... I'm not getting no wiggle on that one either. So I'm saying we're fine. Yeah, they did have it numbered. I didn't realize it. I numbered them here. They got numbers here. It's on this side. The same side as that, so notch goes forward. So that's the front of the motor. That's the front of the motor. We got our new keepers. So I'm gonna go ahead and put one in on this side. You definitely want to make sure them keepers are in there. If them keepers don't stay in there, it pops out. That piston rod comes over and it does some havoc on the cylinder. There we go, piston one. So, I went in the house, I got a little scale in there. This piston weighed 1,000 grams. That's with the wrist pin and all the rings on it. This piston, with all 3 rings on it, the wrist pin, the only thing that was missing, I don't have the little keepers in there yet, only weighed 500 grams and 520. So pretty much, 2 of these pistons weigh the same as 1 of those pistons. How that's even remotely going to balance out, I don't know. This is supposed to be a kit for this tractor. We're going to find out. That's, I guess, You know, these tractors don't rev up that high to even worry about being balanced. I don't know, that's kind of weird in my book. So let me show you what I think's kind of messed up here. Come in a nice packet. They show you the bottom groove, middle groove, top groove. And then they show you how the orientation of the ring goes on this package here in the writing. The bottom ring can go on, the oil ring goes on either way. The top ring, or the center ring, they actually put the word top, so you know which way it goes. This ring has no marking. Has two little 40 or 45 degree angles on the edge, and it's symmetrical. So I'm assuming it goes either direction because it matches none of their pictures that they have on how the ring would orientate. Beyond me why they couldn't put the word top on that, or at least right can go either direction on here. So I'm gonna start putting these rings on. I've had this tool in my toolbox forever. I tried using it on normal pistons. It's just easier for me to pop them on. But these rings are really hard to get on because it's so far down. So I'm gonna see how this thing works on this one, because it was really hard for me to get this oil ring on. You know, most oil rings, you know, consider of the zigzag piece of metal in the center and two rings on the outside. Well, this ring's all put together, slots cut in it. It's all one heavy duty ring. So let's see if this is gonna pretty nice the way that works. So I'm gonna go with number one here. Spread it without breaking my ring. Don't break it, please don't break it. Not bad. That worked good for that ring. Here's number two. Has the word top. This is symmetrical. Goes on either way. I'll orientate these rings. Generally I'll do one top, one bottom, or let's say one left, one right, and then I put the oil ring acrossways. So now I got all the pistons changed out on the rods, got all the rings on. So now I kind of need to clean the crank up a little bit. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Get the main bearings in the block. Get the crank on, the rear main seal in. That's the biggest thing. So now I got everything pretty ready for the crank. So we're gonna get our bearings popped in. One thing I do like, the kit came with Cleveite bearings, at least the mains. I'm not sure about the rods. The rods are probably Japanese, but these are my favorite bearings, Cleveite. This is the thrust bearing. Thrust bearing has got the side bearing also, so when you push the clutch in, it has to get something. So there's the bottom side of the bearing. Next up, some assembly lube. We're gonna pop these on the bearing here. Nice. So the book states that we got to torque these at 75 foot-pounds. I'm going to do them kind of in two processes. I'm going to do 50. So I'm going to start at 50 foot-pounds. Now we're going to bump up to 75. me putting the piston in. So this cranking is what I call a boxer crank. 2 up, 2 down. Just like a Volkswagen. You either got 2 out, the way they do. So I'm going to go ahead. Right now the back piston's down, the front piston's down. I'm going to go ahead and install the front 2. That way when I flip it over, I'll have 2 I can put in. Then I'll do the 2 center ones and be done. These definitely don't look like cleave lights. Standard connecting rods. No telling where they came from. So now I'm going to torque all the rods. Book says 40 to 45. I'm going to go to 40 and see what I got for a hole, because that way I have to go a little more to get the Carter pin to go through. Then I won't be going over 45. There's 40. There's 40. Make sure we're not locking down now. Now we're nice. Now let's see if we got a hole. Oh, that goes right through there perfect. So we got that one good. So I'm ready to put the rear main seal in this. I've got them all cleaned up. I got the seal in it, which is the old style cotton. And I pre-oiled it some. I'm going to do some more. I'm going to show you how I done it. A little bit of Marvelous Mystery Oil. I just put a bit around it. Let it soak up a little bit of oil. And then I took just a little bit of this assembly lube. This crank's got a twister groove cut in it, so it's always pulling oil to the inside. Pretty cool the way they done it. This is the bottom side. I don't need it. So pretty much the first thing, you know, you have the bottom seal, you got the top seal, but I can't put these on until I get this gasket. I gotta get this gasket over here on the back. I can't do that until I put this bar back in. It also has seals. I did them the same way. So first thing, this has got to go in. Something they didn't have back in the day is Permatex. I'm going to do a little extra. On my corners. I'm not putting it real heavy. It's going to gush. It's machine fit. Now I got two bolts that hold the oil pan on. There's two long bolts on the front and the rear back here, so I'm gonna borrow them. We'll take them back off once we get everything set in place. This is gonna be fun. I don't know about this. Oh. I remember they had to knock it out. Man. So it's got Permatex in that corner coming over in that corner, and you got these two seals, so oil shouldn't be coming out. Definitely want to make sure we line it up, because after we get it all bolted on, if I can't get the oil pan back on, I have to take it all back apart. Put a very thin layer, just a string around it. Basically, I just want it to stick. The gasket's going to seal itself. It don't take much to seal this. Now we're ready for the bottom. This is going to be the hardest bolt, so I'm going to try to get it first. I need the bolt. You go to that smallest hole on it, it's hard to squeeze out, but you don't overdo it. It doesn't take that much. Not when you're using a gasket. Now if I didn't have a gasket, I was using nothing but Permatex. Now I double that. The bottom's gapped out a little bit. Oops, not the right one, this one. I need to get it in line a little more. So the felt's hitting each other. Right now I'm tightening the 4 corners so the bottom bolts should line up each other. Yeah, I'm just snugging them. I'm not really tightening them. I just want to make sure it's lined up when I put the bolts in. So I went through, cleaned the head pretty good. It's all cleaned up. So now I'm going through and I'm going to reseat all my valves. Plus I want to check them all. Now they got different style removers. You've got this type, comes in, holds down, you pull the spring up. I've got a pair that I made out of a pair of vice grips, tongs, that I put some ends on. You can come in, hold the valve on one side, squeeze it down, take it off. But this is kind of big. It's made for cars, not for this tractor. The tractor's a little bitty. Valves in it, it barely fits it, so I'm not using them. Then you got these. I really like these for smaller engines. Great for lawnmowers. But these springs are quite small. These fit on it nicely. So that's what I'm using. Pretty much what you get it set up. I'm a little tighter with this one. I've already done the first one here. I want to make sure it's going to work right before I put it on video. So, you know, pretty much pop that in. Crank your spring down. Now the spring's loose. Make sure you now the valve. It's up there. It's on there pretty tight. Just take your little hammer. Tap on that cap. Get your little keeper out. Your second keeper. Cap comes right off. Spring, I don't touch it, just leave it like it is. Now they have a little keeper here, which keeps that from falling down in there. So theoretically, you can almost take this off on the tractor, not worry about your valve slipping off and losing it if you had to do this on the tractor. Also, I think this is for your umbrellas. And let me show you what an umbrella is. In this kit came with these. And these are oil umbrellas. They kind of go on like this. It'll be on there. That way oil doesn't get on here, get down in there and make it smoke. Now, this don't have none. I don't know if they got old over the years and disintegrated, or whoever may have rebuilt this one time before, which it may have been. I didn't see a big evidence of it, but they could have. They ought not to put them on. I'm opting not to put them on myself. I'm going to tell you why. Back in 1948, we had good gasoline. It had lead in the gas. The lead is what lubed this. So when the gas goes in, it comes out, it kept the valves lubed. Well, there's no lead in gas no more. So it really doesn't get much lubricant for your valves. These are all nice and tight, they're not wore out. It's probably because they left that off, so just a little bit of oil gets in there over time and keeps that lube. I've been driving this tractor for a long time. I haven't seen a lot of smoke or anything, so at this point I'm going to leave it. I have the caps. Down the road, if I'm getting too much smoke and think it might be these, I could take the valve cover off, use my little spring compressor, pop them on. It wouldn't take probably an hour. I could do all of them, pop them on and run with it. But right now, I'm opting not to go with them. So let me show you how I'm doing these valves. So now I got the valve. I can pull it out. This is the intake valve for gas. As you can see, it's a whole lot cleaner, or nice clean. I'm going to show you on the next one, because the next one is an exhaust valve. Nope, I'll take that back. That's an intake valve also. No, that's exhaust. No, it's intake. This one's exhaust. Two center ones. And it had a lot of carbon, which I cleaned up on the wire brush, which I'm going to clean this up on the wire brush. You can tell how nice and shiny that is all around. It's got a really good seat. Really don't have to mess with it. I am going to scuff it, and I'll show you how. So I tell you where I cleaned it up. As you can see how nice. And cleaned all that carbon off. Top, I can even read it now. That's original IH. That's the original valve came in the tractor. Nice, got the numbers on it and everything. So I'm gonna set this down for a second. Got me a barrel brush on my drill. Clean that up. Come in here where the valve was at. Port looks clean. The seat looks good. So now I'm going to seat the valve, reseat it. So first thing I'm going to do, I've got some 280 compound for seating valves. It's just gritty goo. We're going to put it on this valve all the way around the tip where that seat's at. So basically it's just like putting some sandpaper on it. Now I'm not worried about putting any on the bottom. I don't want it coming up past that ledge. I put more of it toward the inside because when this spins, it's going to sling outward and come into it because I'm going to bump it. So this is how I do this. Take a little assembly lube. Place it back in. Now I put my drill on it. See, I got a little bit of back and forth play here. I will tell you, put a little bit of Smyrna lube on your finger. That's gonna make it slick. You're gonna hit the valve, push in. Make sure it don't burn your finger up. See how it polishes your finger? You can also pull on the drill a little bit. Doing it by hand takes a while when you have the little suction cup. These goes pretty quick. Clean the valve. Clean all that back off the seat in here. I know y'all can't see that part, but I'm getting it cleaned up with a rag. Now, see if we can't see this here. I'll try to get this on this film, but so you can spin this valve all the way around, and now it being nice, not being real shiny, it's got that dull gray where it's been sanded a little bit. And what I'm looking for, if you see shiny in spots, that means that valve could have war spots on it, or a crack you'll be able to see. Everything looks nice on that. I'm gonna do the same for the seat. The seat should look the same way. That seat looks really nice. So we're all cleaned up. We're gonna simply lube the valve one more time. Put our little keeper back on. My handle is facing out to put the spring back on the same way, which really don't make a difference. Clean this cap up. Keeper in. Keeper's got a little groove in there, and there's a groove there, and it goes right in it. And they are tapered funnel shaped, so make sure the pointy side goes down. Don't get them in backwards. So that's on. You can run it all the way out. It's going to hold it. Uncrank your spring. So I'm going to move along, do all these. I will show you when I get to this exhaust valve what the valve looks like. So let me get to it. Like I said, I'd show you an exhaust valve. I turned the head around. I've already done these four, so I'm going to do these four now. I've already got the spring off of this valve. There's the exhaust valve. This is what I'm talking about. It's got a lot of carbon buildup on it. So let me go clean it. I just barely hit it with the grinder so you can see the difference. You can see all that carbon. It was black. Now you can see how it comes out like it's a brownish color that builds up on there. Let me finish cleaning it. So now I've got it all cleaned up. There is a little bit of pitting in there. Not bad. It's just an exhaust valve, so it takes a hit. I'm going to set it down for a second. See all that black carbon come up out of there. see all that carbon still in there. I don't know if you can see it on there. You can see all that carbon on that table. So let me show you the valve now. We're going to seat the valve again. Once again, put my compound on. My liquid sandpaper. A little assembly lube. A little on your finger. I can pull with the drill too. I'm open the valve, close the valve, open the valve, close the valve. I'm pulling back with it. It's gonna take about 30 seconds. It'll clean it up. Pretty good example on this one. Nice to hear. Got a little bit of pitting right in here, but it's making contact. Might not do this one twice. See what the seat looks like. Seems to be going all the way around on it. A little bit of pitting there too. I think we're good enough that's going to work. It was running nicely before. It's got to be better now that I cleaned it. So moving along. Last thing you've seen when you're doing all the valves, I went ahead and put the head gasket, put the head on, torqued it down, put the rocker arm assembly in, and got all my valves adjusted to what the book says. Now, you know, I had that one bolt broke over there, and I meant to show y'all me making one, but here's one that I made where I drilled the hole in the side and then drilled a hole through the center. Unfortunately, when I was drilling the hole in the center on this one, the drill bit broke off in there and I can't get it out. So I had to make another one. But it's in. I finally got it fixed up. So I got my oil where it's going to come back to the top. Now all we need is a valve cover valve cover and cut gasket. Normally, I would glue this gasket down. I'm not. It's a cork gasket. And the reason I'm not, because I may have to take this back off and adjust it if the valves are a little noisy. It don't like going on. No, it don't go that way. Or maybe it was that way. Maybe that's the reason I didn't want to go on. I had it on backwards. Didn't realize there's a front one way and the other. I guess it is offset to that way. So I'm just going to make sure that gasket's tucked up underneath there. That gasket ain't moving. She tightened down pretty good. If I get a little leak, I can always pop that off. 2 bolts, glue it. Everything looks good. All right. So now, motor's pretty much together. I gotta get the exhaust and the carburetor intake. It's all one piece. It'll slip right on. I do gotta get a few pieces here, but I gotta clean them, blast them. And of course I got my distributor with the magneto. It's got to go in up here, and my hydraulic pump, and the motor will be complete. So that being said, I'm pretty much done for tonight. I can get the rest of these stuff put on. I'm going to have to get it painted, and before I do that, I got some other pieces I'm going to try to get finished on this front end before I paint this. That way I can paint it also. So that's going to be all on this video. Until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe. Take it easy.